All right, we're gonna start right here on the knee shield guard, but right now my opponent is not gonna be with the leg closed. Okay, when he closes the leg, we learned before, keeping the weight, the feet flat on the floor, keeping the weight on the hip towards my heels, right? And don't allow my opponent to bring me on top of his head. Okay, so keep the C grip on his biceps, right? Controlling his entire arm. I don't grab just the wrist. I control like close to the armpit here, right on the biceps, right? And now, if he closes the leg, I'm gonna open his leg, but right now my opponent is playing with the knee open like this. And a lot of times the opponent will play like that because he feels that if your leg if his leg is closed like this, it's easier for you to grab him. Okay? So he's gonna create this shield right here. So when I try to hug him, he's blocking. Okay? And actually this is really, really good for him. We're gonna keep the knees on the floor right now. We start with the feet flat on the floor because I don't want to give space to my opponent and I want to be heavy, right? But at the moment that I start passing, I'm going to start putting my toes on the mat like this because I need mobility to move, all right? And if you pay attention on my fights and the way that I fight when I'm on top, I don't like to keep my feet flat on the floor, okay? It's really hard for me to move and walk if I need to move fast. I like to keep my toes on the mat so that way it's easier for me to posture, to make a base, right? Or to move side to side, or even like if I need to stand up, I can stand up faster. Okay, if I keep my feet flat on the floor, I'll be a little bit slow. Okay, sometimes in the fight you gotta be slow, sometimes you gotta be super fast. Okay, at this moment right here, when I got on this position, I will be slow. Okay, so I wanna be happy because he's gonna start moving. He's gonna try to go underneath of me. I stay here. Okay, push him away. All right. So now with my right hand, I'm gonna control his wrist. All right, and grab his wrist right here. Putting my head, my ear, okay, my outside ear, inside his leg here, his inner thigh, or inner knee, like this. Why I put my head inside? Because then he cannot close the knee. Okay, if I put my head here, he's gonna close the knee, and when he closes the knee, it's really hard for me to jump to the other side. Okay, so I'll keep like this. That's what I do. I like to keep my shoulder here. All right, so try to close your leg. So once I do this frame here, it's gonna be easy for me to pass. Okay. Another thing that I need to pay attention, my opponent sometimes he underhook my leg right here and he link the hands together like that, okay? And if your opponent do that and start pushing you, using the shin against you, like that, he's forcing you to pose the hand on the floor and they start catching your leg. Now he wants to scramble, or maybe he's gonna bring the knee on top of his chest, and now he starts setting up the X guard. And from here you can start attacking toe hold, right? You can go for heel hook or knee bars, right? So you don't want to be on this position you're doing the fight, okay? So when I'm here, okay, if my opponent go with their hands inside like this, I like to open here. I like to push his elbow, opening his elbow up, trying to go inside it. I keep like this, okay? And now with this hand right here, I keep his hips down. I don't allow my opponent to invert it because every time he invert it like this, he's gonna be strong, okay? Especially if he's flexible. So I like to keep his hips on the floor. I put my weight here, okay? And I open his leg, but I open his arm. As soon as I open his arm, I gotta undo this hook right here. Okay, so what I do is like this, underhook Jones. He's gonna underhook, I go here. 1, 2, I stay with my head inside. Now look, I'm gonna grab his bicep and step out, like this, okay? And when I step out, I keep trapping his leg here, between my hamstring and my calf, right? Different angle. So you guys can see how I trap the leg here. Okay, so I trap the leg like this. Okay, try to recover. It's really hard for him to move the leg. Okay, keep my head inside, control his hips, control his biceps. If he underhook my leg, in case he underhook, I open, okay, his elbow. Okay, I don't grab precisely like on the elbow. I can grab on the triceps. Okay, like this. Right. So one more time. So he goes here. I go like this. I can use my forearms too to break the grip. Once I break, I go back, and then I stay on top of him. Okay, don't let him underhook this hand right here, right? So as soon as you're here, now you control the biceps, right? And now you grab the C grip on the ankle right here. You grab the biceps close to the armpit and C grip here. 2 C grips, just like that. Head inside, your shoulder touching his chin. Now tiptoes on the mat, okay? And now I will do like a push-up position. I'll be like this. Okay, try to close your knee. It's really hard. I don't need to trap this leg. Okay, why? Because if you try to recover the guard, That's what I want, okay? When my opponent tries to recover the guard, that's when I start passing his guard. Because look what's gonna happen here. So as soon as I'm here and I do the plank position, try to recover the guard, I will drag this foot here under my armpit. Okay, as I drag this foot under my armpit, I will move my feet towards the other side, like this, okay? Passing his guard. And once I move to the side, I pinch my knees right here, okay? Once I pinch my knees, I staple his hips on the floor so he cannot invert it. Okay, if I keep my knees on the floor, he's gonna invert it and recover the guard like this. Okay, so you don't want to have your opponent doing that on you. So again, one more time. So I'm doing really slow here so you understand, and after I'll show you how to do the technique in the same speed as the fight. Okay, so I'm controlling here. I'm heavy, Jonathan trying to go under me. So I'm here controlling. Grab the C grip, head inside, tiptoes on the mat, and now I stay like this. Okay, Jonathan tries to go over, I drag his foot under my leg and I go to the leg drag. See how I move? Go, Jonathan. I go step 1, step 2. Now I pinch my knees here, keeping his hips between my legs. Okay? Don't go with your knee on the floor because then he's going to invert it, right? So keep your knee on top of your opponent. Okay? Once you do that, right, you're going to be on this position here where your opponent will be with the shin under your armpit. And here he can start building a frame. He's going to start escaping the hips, go the other way, like this. You keep the shin here on your belly, and that's not good for you. Go back. So as soon as I got here, what I want to do is to use this hand against my right hand against his thigh and sink his thigh in between my armpit and my rib, okay, right here, okay, between my arm and my rib right here. So once my armpit is on top of his thigh, then I start doing the tripod position where I put my hand on the side of his head and my shoulder on his neck, and I don't focus on hugging his head because maybe he's gonna block my arm. I focus on underhooking his arm, okay, right here. Now I underhook the other arm, and then I pass the guard. So I'll be on this position. So now I link my hands together, which is important when you fight in no-gi. Okay, controlling him, and then you're ready to make transitions from this position. Okay, one more time. So step 1 is trapping the leg and stay under. He's gonna try to go under. I stay heavy here. Okay, step 2, I grab the C grip here on the ankle. His knee is open, great. So I'm gonna put my hand here. Professor, what about if his knee is like this? Okay, then you gotta do something else. Okay, it's gonna be different, right? So I like to work on this position when my opponent have the legs like this, okay, open. All right, I already give you the option if you close the leg, so you can start like opening his knee, okay? Right now it's gonna be like this. So I go step 1, grab the C grip here and head inside, okay? C grip on his biceps, use my forehead on his chest. Plank position, like a push-up, okay? If Jonathan's recover, I pass his foot under my armpit. And at the same time, I move my left leg first, and then my right. And now, I'll be on this position here. Once I get here, keep my weight on his hips, sink his leg in between my armpit and my rib right here. Okay, and now, I start getting the tripod position, head on the floor, shoulder really heavy on his neck, so that way he cannot move. Link my hands together right here. Once I link my hands, it's easy for me to control, keeping my hips really close to his hip. Okay, so that way he doesn't recover the guard. Remember, if you keep your hips away from his hips or your thigh away from his hips, it's easier for him to recover the half guard. Okay, so turn around. So once you're here, you don't want to be like this. You're gonna recover the guard. Okay, so you must be here. Okay, it's really hard. So if you try to escape the hips, you follow him. Okay, and then from here you're gonna make transitions to mount, right, or knee on belly, okay, or whatever you like to do. If you turn, you're gonna take his back. There's different things you can do. All right, so I'm doing really slow again. All right, one more time so you can understand. Step 1, step 2, and then you stay here with the head inside. Okay, his leg doesn't close the knee. Tiptoes on the mat, plank position. Once you start recover, I pass his foot under my armpit, and I jump. Okay? One more time. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now I got on the side. Okay, one more time. So very slow. This is one of my favorite guard pass for no-gi. Okay, it works really well. Every time I'm fighting here with my opponent, he's like playing guard. He's trying to go underneath of me. He's trying to catch my legs. Put my tiptoes on the mat, and I'm like this. Now my leg is so far from his arm. Try to underhook. It's really far. Okay, and at the same time I have the weight on him. But now I can move. And usually you see this space. He's like, oh, I gotta recover the guard. That's when you go for the leg drag. And you see like how I step my leg. When he pass, I go step 1, step 2. In the meantime, I'm putting his foot under my armpit. Now, I keep my knees together here. Keep his hips between my legs, okay? Super heavy on his hips so he doesn't turn out upside down. Now you snap the leg right here. Okay, keep the knee inside. Don't let the knee be outside. Put inside your arm, tripod. Okay, tiptoes on the mat still. See my tiptoes on the mat. Then I link my hands together here. That's the guard. And keep my hip close to his hip. Okay? If you escape the hips, I follow him. Doesn't give you space. It's very important to keep this connection here when you are on the side. Okay? Otherwise, you're going to lose the side control. Okay? The speed of the fight. I'll be here trying to move. I keep right here. Grab the C grip. And I go. I don't need to wait for my opponent to recover the guard, okay? So once I'm here, I can hop over his leg like this, okay? Notice that this foot goes from here to over his leg, and then my knee goes right here on his groin, and the other one goes on his hip, okay? This is blocking his hips. It's really hard for him to invert it, okay? I just want to make sure you understand this concept here, because it's a way that I control my opponent's hips, okay? A lot of times people, they do the leg drag and they drop the knee on the floor. Then the opponent will escape the hips. Or the opponent will go upside down like this and recover the guard, especially when the opponent is flexible. So when I do the leg drag, okay, right here, I go like this. Because now if you try to recover, it's harder, I'm heavier. If you try to go upside down, I'm on top of his hips. Okay, if I take this knee off, like it's easier for him to move. Okay, so just think about that. And of course, you pinch the knees on the hips, control the hips, and then you control the upper body. So when you pass in the guard, the first thing you gotta do is to control the hips as you start going to the side. And after you control the hips, you lock the hips, you beat up him on that area, then you're gonna control the upper body. Okay, which is his head and arms. So I'm here, control. Once I get my grips, hand inside, tiptoes on the mat, stand up. If you pass the leg, I'll pass his foot here. And now I move to the side. Look. Up. Right here. Once I'm here, snap his leg to the side, tripod. My head goes right on the side of his head. Okay, it's very important to put the weight like this to shut down the weight on him. So while you're controlling the lower body, you're also controlling the upper body using your weight on him, okay? Now you pass the guard, and you keep the connection here. So you keep the connection. Escape the hips, follow him, never give him space. If you give that space, if you keep far from his leg, he's gonna recover the guard, okay? It's I can say this is like a technique that's simple, but it can be combined as a fundamentals advanced technique, okay? But it's super simple to do. C grip, head inside. Plank position, jump. You see, right here. Now, put the weight on him, grab, pass the guard, establish. You can go here too as well. Okay, but it's not all the time that you're gonna succeed on hugging his head like that because he can block you like this, okay? So I like to go here, okay? And the good thing of this guard pass is you will switch the side, okay, of the position. You switch the side to pass the guard, and sometimes your opponent play guard most like to this side only, okay? This is his strong side. If you keep trying to pass this way, he's gonna recover the guard. So when you make a transition to the other side, he's gonna give up. He end up either letting you pass in the guard, or he's gonna turn and you're gonna take his back. Okay? So I'll be here, blocking, go inside, blocking, jump, tripod. So now you start doing the snap on the leg right after the leg drag. Okay, as you start learning. Step 1, step 2. Okay, your head is inside, never here. Okay. Step 3, plank. Step 4. Step 5. Now, step 6, you put your weight on him, tripod. When I say tripod, 2 legs open and the head on the floor. That's the tripod position, okay? So my weight is like this, okay? Legs and head, right? Like this. And then I get the underhook, pass, but I don't pass too far from his hips. I keep my hips connected. So my goal is to be on the side, but always with my hips connected. That will you know, like I'll read his body and his escapes when I connect my hip right here. Okay, so I can read when I'm close and when I'm putting good pressure, or when I'm going away from him. Okay, if I go away from his leg, I cannot go here. I need to go all the way where I'm on the north-south, and now he can no longer put on the half guard. Okay? I can be on the side control too, as long as I'm controlling the head really well and trapping the arm and have this thigh close to his body. Okay? But every time that you give you space, he's going to recover the guard. This is a very common mistake, and I see all the time. On this angle right now, step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4, step 5, tripod. 6, you control, fast. Now you're on the side of your opponent. Okay? And that's the beauty of Jiu-Jitsu. You're able to switch sides, okay? Usually this is a secret, okay? A secret that I will reveal to you right now. When you're fighting and your opponent sit like this, and he hang out towards one side more than the other side. So when Jontas put that side on the floor, like his right hand on the floor, and he's trying to attack with my left hand, that means that he wants me to pass this way. Every time that I start moving towards his back like this, I'm passing to his weak side. I can pass like this, just like we did as a leg drag, or I can change him. I can force him to play guard to the other side, like this. That'll be his weakness. So now, his weak side, I can pass as a knee cut. I can do so many things. It's so much easier for me to. It's way easier for me to pass to the side that he's not offering me. Okay? Because usually people, they're really flexible on the side they're offering you. And if you pass towards their back like this, they will invert it. Most of the time when they're flexible, they will invert it like this. Flexible guys, but stiffened guys, like guys that don't have so much flexibility, they're gonna sit up like this and try to escape the hips to recover. That's how they're gonna do. So right after you go for the leg drag, you gotta be aware and be ready to attack the back. Okay, that's what you're gonna learn next, all right? All right, we're gonna do the exact same thing as the last technique. Control the C-grip, control the biceps and the head inside. Okay, so my shoulders right here, head inside. All right, so now I'm pushing his heel against his butt. Okay, and also when I'm doing this, I'll feel the tension of my opponent. He's gonna try to stretch the leg back. Okay, and when he stretches the leg back, that's when I guide his leg to the side. Okay, if it probably if my opponent doesn't move the leg, I just stay here. I'll wait for his reaction. As he push, I drag. Yeah, I love to do that. It's very effective, so good, and it's my favorite guard pass. Okay, so I'm here, right? I go for the plank position. When you start pushing the leg, that's when I guide, and I hop over his leg, so now I'm on the leg drag. Once I get here, I'm gonna snap his thigh inside my arm. I go for the tripod position. Even if I go for this situation here, he's gonna start turtle. Like he's gonna start like turtle this way. Exactly. He can turtle this way. It's easy for me to control his wrist and grab my wrist. Okay. And now I keep this knee here. I keep my left knee on top of his leg here. Okay. I'll never keep this knee on the floor. So when my opponent is sideways, I like to keep like this. Because now if you want to go for the turtle position, my first hook is my right hook. See? Go back. So once you start turtle, he'll guide me on top of him. So if I have this on the floor, when my opponent turns, it's really hard for me to get that hook. And I see this happening all the time. And when I try to put the hook like this here, Jonatas will jump to the other side. And once he jumps to the other side, now he can start turning towards my legs, like this, and then start escaping, okay? So once you pass, you already know like he can turtle, right? So there's one way for him to turtle, which is, there's two ways actually, which is turning like this, like Jonatas did, or sitting up, right? When you sit up and try to frame, okay? Also, you can invert it, right? 3, right? So total. So I'll pass. Step 1, he's gonna just roll. When he rolls, I'm gonna attack him here, but look, I keep my knee here, okay? Control, and now my first hook is the right leg going under. And how I do that, turn your back to the camera. See that my left leg is right here, pretty much like I'm half mounted on my opponent, and my right knee is on his shoulder, okay, under his shoulder. When he turns, my leg goes as a wiper here, as a windshield wiper, okay? Look, I move like this. That's my first hook, okay? I'm putting my hands on the floor so just so you can see, but right here I'm gonna control the seatbelt, holding his wrist. When he turns, I put the hook. Once I put the hook, I fall sideways. Now I got the second hook. Then I can turn into a body lock, which is a great way for me to control my opponent. Figure 4 my leg, and then I start attacking his back with a great rear naked choke. Okay? C grip, head inside. Okay? Now I put my forehead on his chest. I jump as a leg drag. I pinch my knees. Okay? And the three ways for him to escape from this. Okay? If I got the tripod right away here, Jonatas can start turtle this way like this. Like turning just like outside of me. I grab his wrist. If I can't find his wrist here, I just get the seatbelt. My left knee goes on top of his hips. Right knee goes on his shoulder. Now when he turns, I put my hook in, fall to the side. Now I can lock my legs like this. Here, turn up. Like here, I can lock just like a close guard, having my calf going on top of his hips. Okay, so I'm here. Now I start going for the choke. Okay, or I can stretch him, okay, to get the second hook. Because usually when you try to put the hook here, it's defending. It's really hard for you to get that hook. So you must stretch, like an arm bar. Stretch and now you get the hook. Once you get the hook, you can go for the rear naked choke. Free access to the neck, okay? If you Jonatas sit up instead of rolling to the side, right? So when I get here, I jump to the side. You sit up right here like this, exactly. So now I cannot like attack him if I have this frame here on me. Okay, I need to use the C grip here to snap to the side and then start attacking his back. Okay, so once I attack the back, now I'm gonna keep him between my thighs, like this. I'll sit like this. Okay, once he's between my thighs, now I start to attack his back. So first hook, and then turning to the other side, then the second hook. Okay. And why I put that hook first, okay? Because now he's sitting up and my foot is stuck under his body. Okay, so first I put this hook here because even if he's closing, not allow me to go for the hook, I can open my elbow and get the hook. Okay, so I have free access to the hook. Now I turn to the side of the hook, okay, and then I get the second hook. Once I'm here, then I can get the figure 4. Okay, the body lock. I can control my leg like this and control my foot. Get the figure 4 when I body lock him. If I have long legs or size enough to lock, I will do like that. If you feel your leg is short, you cannot do that. Just stay like this. Okay? And now once you're here, you're gonna start attacking his neck as well. Turn to the other side again. Grab the neck, and now get a great rear naked choke. Okay? The focus on the technique is to end up on the back, pass the guard and attack the back, and recognize the reactions of your opponent. And like I said before, if you need to stop and do the drill or memorize the technique, make your notes, do it. Okay, so you pause, watch the first one, the first variation where he just turns this side, And now I'm talking about the second one where he frame and you go as a C grip, push into the side and then start attacking the back, okay? So this is already a second variation from the same back take, okay? Or same leg drag pass towards the back, okay? So first step, C grips. Second step, head inside. Third step, forehead on his chest and lift to my knees. Okay, now jump, fourth step. Once I get here, Jonathan will sit up like this, okay? Once he sit up, it's hard for me to get him, right? I keep my weight on him here. It's hard for him to move. Move, Johnson. Like this, it's hard for him to move. I pinch my knees. And if he moves, I can follow him with my feet on the floor. Okay, if I put my toes like this on the mat, I will not follow him when he skates, okay? So keep your feet like this. Because if you jump like back really fast, go, Jonathan. I can move. I can keep chasing, okay? So Jonathan is still framing, so now I snap. Now I snap his arm to the side, and then I dive my knee that was on top of his hip around his back, okay? And I go and cover this hole right here, okay? So I snap to the side, jump with my arm over, slide in here, okay? Now I'm sitting on the floor with my opponent between my thighs. So open the elbow, get the hook, turn, and then I get the second hook, okay? Once I'm here, I really like to get the body lock, okay? So you can get a nice body lock here. Once you get the body lock, it's easier for you to go for a beautiful rear naked choke. Step 1, step 2, and now step 3, you grab your biceps. Again, don't do like this, because here your hand will be stuck on top of his head, okay? And a lot of people do like that. So I go right here. Okay, we'll back of my hand behind his neck first. Now I grab my biceps. And a lot of times when I teach this, people go with this hand over the forearm. No, it's between your forearm and your biceps, right here. Now you put your chin over your wrist, then you squeeze and choke your C grips. So sit up, snap, and then have your opponent between your legs. Step 1, turn. Step 2, okay? One thing really important when you're here on this position, okay, right here, is your head, okay? So your head must be like really close to his head. Your chin is to touch his trap, right here. Okay, so then you start working to get the back. Okay? You don't want to be too far from him trying to get the hook, because then he can put on the half guard. Right? It's really hard for you to control. Right? So you must have it must be like a backpack behind your opponent, right here. Right, you got the hook, so you're super tight and strong. So now you go for the choke. Okay. Again. C grips. Jump, sit up, snap. Go between his legs. Okay. Step 1, chin over his trap. Step 2. Okay. Now you can start attacking the neck. In the meanwhile, you start putting the body lock. Once you get the body lock, you can go hand behind his shoulder, back of your hand behind his head. Then you grab your biceps and then open your chin. So you can place the chin over your wrist. Now you're gonna squeeze him, but you shrug the side that's around the neck. And then twist, okay? That's how you got a really good rear naked choke. Shrug and twist and force your opponent to attack. Okay? My opponent will only invert it. Okay? That's the third reaction he's gonna have. He only inverted if I don't staple his hips with my knee. Okay? So let's say if I jump to this side and I keep this knee open, he's gonna invert it. Okay, I cannot keep this knee open or on the floor. Alright? So when I get here, I stand up, I pass. Try to invert it, like he can't. See, in the meanwhile right now, I start attacking his back just like the first one. Okay, he turns, get the hook. One thing really important to get this hook, goes inside really quick and fast and easy. You gotta have the kneecap close to his shoulder. When you turtle, it's easy for you to put the hook in. If your kneecap is close to the hip, when you turtle, you're not gonna get the hook in, okay? So you want to have here, go, here. And now, you take his back, okay? If my opponent doesn't move after I pass his guard here, and I got the seat belt and he's still like sideways, I step my top leg first. But I put my heel really close to his belly, right here. And now I bring my knee under his head, okay, chin over his shoulder or trap, and drive in and bring him to the other side. Once he's here, you're gonna step the leg. I like to step the leg over his arm when I get the hook. So I trap one arm already. Once I trap the arm, I go for the rear naked choke. Turn to the side, belly up. And then I go for a beautiful rear naked choke. Okay? Try to invert it. I'm here. You can't invert it. He's gonna sit up with frame, snap, and jump to the back. Okay? Keep in between your legs. You see how I cover this knee? Sit up, close. I cannot jump to his back if I don't snap. I need to have this access here. And then I grab, and then I go slide underneath of him. Okay, so now I'm on his back. Okay, I'm good to go and get the hooks. Okay? Or the detail for the rear naked choke, if you've never done the rear naked choke before, come here, Jones. Your opponent will be sitting here in the front of you. You're gonna get the seat belt, you control behind his shoulder. Okay? Once you grab behind the shoulder, now instead of going like 1 and 2 like everyone does, you go here. Back of your hand, karate chop behind his head, and grab your biceps with your right hand. So first hand behind the head, second hand on the biceps. Once you do that, you place your chin over your wrist. Okay? Again, step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4. Okay? 1, hand behind the head. Hand behind the shoulder, sorry. 2, hand behind the head. 3, hand on the biceps. 4. Okay, so you're always gonna be step 1, right side. Step 2, left side. Step 4, step 3, biceps right side. And step 4, you grab, put your chin over your wrist, and then you start choking. The way that I choke, I shrug. I bring my shoulders to my ear, and I twist towards the side that I'm on his neck. Okay, so I go like this. I don't just squeeze. Okay, I shrug and twist. Okay, it's like this is like a collar. Okay, pulling the choke. So I shrug more on the side and twist. Okay, and that way you're gonna build a really good leverage to strangle him and stop him, and not allow your opponent to breathe or have a blood flowing towards his brain. Okay, so step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4. Okay, so mixing up all the technique. So C grips, head inside. Okay, you go for the plank position, leg drag. Okay, he's gonna try to sit up, push, control, and slide my knee inside. Now I'm close to him. I got the first hook with the chin close to his shoulder. Turn to the other side. Get the second hook. Okay, if he's like trying to not let me get the hook like this, go over his arm. Okay, so that way you track his arm away. Okay, so now I go for the rear naked choke. So I'll be here. Okay, so I go step 1. Now I go step 2 here. Control. Okay, you can do like facing this way, right, like this, or you can turn your opponent's back to the other side, which is gonna be a little bit better for you to choke him. Right here. Once you turn into this way, it's easier for you to attack with the bottom hand on the neck. Okay, right here. And then you go here and grab. It's pretty much at the same time. Step 1, step 2. See? And then you grab. So I did it in 4 steps first. 1, 2, 3, 4, right? But it's in 2 steps. So 1, 2. You're already there. And then you choke him. Shrug and twist. So you force him to the tap. Yeah, if you can step over his arm, it's even better, because that way it's gonna be hard for him to defend the neck. Okay, really hard for him to defend the neck. So it's easier access to the neck, and then you choke your opponent. Remember, when you choke your opponent, you gotta hold for at least like 5 to 10 seconds. Okay, just hold and stay. Sometimes you're gonna do all your strength, and then you feel like he's not tapping, and after 3 seconds, you're gonna let go because you think the choke is not working. Trust me, the choke is working. Just take your time, hold, and stay there and relax. Another thing that you can do when you get the rear naked choke, right here, okay, you're doing everything that you need to do. You shrug, you twist, but it's not tapping. You can fill up your chest with air. That way you also increase the amount of volume that you have around his neck, okay? So if you just choke like this, if you fill up the air here, you feel that it's easier for you to tap it. That's another detail that I use to choke my opponent. So first is getting the choke. Second is shrug. Okay, I shrug more the side that is around the neck. Third, I twist. If that's not working, I fill up. Fourth, the fourth step is fill up my lungs with air. And just wait, and then he's gonna tap, okay? Just try that and see like how important is that, and you're gonna notice the difference, okay? Let's work. All right now, my opponent will play the knee shield again, okay? And let's say he have a really strong knee shield. He didn't open the leg, he decided to keep like this. Sometimes your opponent will lock the legs here, depends like how big is his leg. And pretty much I believe that if you train jiu-jitsu already, you probably like have a hard time to pass this type of guard, okay? And a lot of times you can decide to go for the knee cut, where you're gonna pass your kneecap over his thigh, and then you start applying the knee cut, passing the bottom leg. But then you pass the bottom leg, right? I passed already the bottom leg, but the top leg is still here framing. And I try to turn and let my opponent keep the distance and recover the guard again. Or you do this leg here, he keep the distance and he's gonna roll. Like you go inverted and roll. And roll and recover the guard. Okay, and then I'll be inside his leg again. There's one technique that I like to do. It's a very strong and powerful knee cut. I call it powerful knee cut. Okay, which is a super knee cut. Okay, so you go for a super knee cut where you're gonna pass both legs. Okay, your goal is to not pass only the bottom leg. Your goal is to pass both legs. I want to be able to knee cut and also keep this top leg behind my lower back. So now I have free access and have no frame on me, okay? So now I pass this guard, okay? Again, if I keep my opponent's shin on my stomach here or on my hips, I'll pass the bottom leg, but this leg will be bothering me here, okay? And this probably can give me a hard time or can give me a problem and not allow me to pass the guard. Even if I try to link the hands here, he's gonna find a way to keep the frame and keep me far away from him. I must like pass this leg here, okay? And what I do here, I will put my kneecap over his thigh, okay, right here. And of course, I'm always trapping his foot between my calf and my hamstring, okay? I don't go with my leg like loose and then let my opponent recover the guard like this, okay? So I trap and then I go here, try to recover. So I'm trapping his leg. Okay, so I'm here, okay? I'm not doing like this, like loose, and then letting like take the foot out. All right, make sure you have the foot between your hamstring and calf. So now when you go here, you can make the base and then you'll be on this position, okay? Notice that I keep my hand, okay, my left hand, always controlling his biceps, okay? Right here. So when I'm here, I go step one, step two. Okay, I stand up. Okay, I don't do this like here so you can underhook, so that's not good for me. So I keep like this. Now what I do, I go with my hand under, my left hand under his knee. Okay, and now I'm gonna start pushing Jonathan's, having my kneecap between his belly. Okay, between like right his groin here, okay, between his legs. So I do this. So when I do this, try to get the knee shield, Jonathan, it's hard for me to get a knee shield. Okay, now I work with my right hand on top of his knee, and then left hand on top of his knee as well. So what I want to do is to push his feet to the floor here. So I want to do this. Okay, once I push the feet to the floor, I will go with a super knee cut. Okay, passing his guard, landing with my armpit on top of his hips. Okay, and when I got here, my opponent will try to frame and try to pulse and try to escape the hips. What I do, I grab his biceps here as a C-grip, and I put his triceps on the floor. Okay, I put his arm on the floor, like this part of his arm on the floor, and I put his biceps linked with his body. So that way it's hard for him to frame on me. Okay, I keep squeezing here, okay? So I'm squeezing on this side and I'm squeezing on the other side as well, my left side. So now I start scooping my hips under his hips like this, and I glue my hips close to his hips. So that way there's no space between my hips, my legs, and his legs, okay? So now just to move for a little bit. When he breathes to escape, keep fighting. The more he breathes, now I start. When he breathes, I put my hand here, okay? And now I squeeze even more, moving my legs backwards, okay, towards his hips. So I'm squeezing my hip against my biceps here. My right side of my hips, okay? The right side of my hips against my biceps, the right side of my biceps. Okay, this biceps here. Okay, and now I keep pushing, pulling his arm against him. Okay, and then I go as a leg drag. That's my leg here. So Johnson keep moving, and then I link my hands together. So I pass like this. He bridge. I go under his hips. Look, my hand is here. See, my right hand is right here under him. Now I squeeze him between my biceps and body. So now, when Jonathan starts breathing here, I link my hands together here. Once I link my hands together, when I grab my hand together here, I put my thigh under his thigh. Now Jonathan tries to push me, I'll keep like right here. It's very important when you pass in the guard to find the ways to link your hands, okay? You gotta hug the opponents. You cannot be with your hands open. So you gotta find ways to connect your hands. Once you connect the hands, you can lock the space really well. I cannot pass here and keep my hands disconnected, because then Jonathan start finding ways, start getting slippery. He's gonna start like escaping. Okay, I don't grab like this. Okay, if I grab like this, or like I did right now, under his body here. Okay, and then I control him, leg drag, keeping my thigh under his thigh, having my elbow close to his body, and then I control him. Okay, one more time. So I'm here. Okay, I have both knees on the floor. I go step one, kneecap on the thigh, trap his leg. Step two, I go right here. Now I go with my kneecap close to his belly button. Okay, and now I push his feet to the floor and go for the super knee cut. Like this. Okay. The last part of the movement again. So I'm here, I go step one, step two. Okay? That's in the guard. So in the fight, it's gonna look like this. So I'm here, I go step one, step two. And once I'm here, I'm gonna control him. Jonathan will bridge, start to escape. I go with my hand here. Okay? My right hand under his body. Trap his hips, using my hips against his hips. I walk backwards, link my hands together here. Grab my hands, put them face to the other side. Not this side, okay, face this way, more balance. Now my right leg goes under his hips. Then I stay here. Jonathan will try to push me. I'll stay here until he stops moving. Once he stops moving, then I can start disconnecting my hands and grab the upper body. So now, when I pass the knee cut, I gotta control the lower part of his body, okay? I don't pass and try to grab his head. Look what happened if I do that. Let's say I do everything perfectly here. I go step one, step two, pass and try to grab here. Look how far I am from his leg, so he's gonna recover the card. Okay, if I'm fighting someone really good. So as I pass, okay, here, I pass and I go back. I stay with my hips really close to his hips. He's gonna bridge. I'm gonna go with my hand inside, control, and then I got the leg drag. Okay, looking towards the outside. What is the outside? Is the side that my leg is not facing the opponent. Let's say if I'm on the right side of my opponent, I'll face to the left side of my opponent. Okay, facing away from my legs. Alright, so that way I have a really strong guard pass. Again, so I cannot step this leg here, so he's gonna get the underhook. Don't let that happen. Okay, so I'm here. He's going to knee shield. I'm controlling his biceps. I go step one, step two, stand up my leg. Step three, step four. I do this. Okay, now step five, I grab it here. So now I push his feet to the floor and get a super knee cut. Like this. So then my knee goes towards the mat, okay? So I'm here, I go step one, step two. And my armpit right away covers the hips. So that way he doesn't put the shin again, right? So once I got here, I control his biceps. Okay, now he's gonna bridge, pass my hand under. Now, once my hand is under, control my hands together here, leg drag, controlling the hips, okay? And when I say leg drag, that means like my thigh is under his thigh. This is the leg drag, okay? This is a great way for me to control the hips first. Once you stop moving, then I'll pass his guard. I always say that it's pretty easy for you to pass the guard, to land on the side of the opponent. The hardest part is to control and maintain the side control. A lot of times you're passing the guard, probably like you're going to the side of your opponent here, but then because you worry about controlling the upper body, you end up recovering the guard, okay? So once you get on the side, especially as a knee cut, you must control the hips. So your hips scoop under his thigh, right? Like this. So I go like backwards. I like to say that I'm parking the car. You know when you park in the car, especially on reverse, you go forward first, and now you go backwards again. So you go 1 and then 2. So this is really important when you're passing the guard, okay? And a lot of people, they don't understand that. They think like passing the guard is just going straight to control the top and the upper body or hugging the head of the opponent, or try to be as far as you can from the legs. But that's not true. Because I only need to be on the front of his thighs. Once I'm in the front of his thighs, it's easier for me to maintain myself on the side, okay? So I can touch this part of his leg, okay? But I cannot let him touch the lower part of his leg, which is the shin. So if I'm here, I'm not gonna pass. If I pass the bottom one, but the top one is still on top, I'm not gonna pass. If I pass the top one, but the bottom one is here, I'm not gonna pass, okay? I must be here. And the best way for you to not let your opponent find a space is to connect your armpits on top of his hips and your hips on top of his hips as well. That way he doesn't have a space to recover the guard. Turn sideways, Jones. Try to build the frame, turn sideways. Yeah. Even if you turn sideways, now if you sideways here, I chop my hand right here, and I make Jonathan's, I fold his body on top of my forearm, like this. Now my hand is in the other side, and I grab my hand here, looking away, and have my knee right under his hamstring right here, controlling him. He's gonna try to sit up, right? I keep squeezing my opponent until he gives up. The goal also is to make your opponent feel comfortable after you pass. What that means, Professor, make him feel comfortable. Because at first, when you pass right here, he's uncomfortable. He's like pushing you, he's like fighting, he's not comfortable here. But once he feels like that he can't do anything, you have a good control, he's gonna start feel comfortable. He's gonna start feeling like, you know what? I gotta stop moving. I'm wasting my energy. He's heavier, he's strong, he has a good pressure. Heavier, I mean in a way of pressure, right? He's applying the person on top, which is you, applying a really good pressure on top of the opponent. And he will start thinking, oh, you know, I'm just wasting my energy. I gotta slow down. And then he's gonna stop. And then he's gonna start thinking about just defending the neck, waiting the opportunity for you to move in order to escape. And that's when you move, you also move squeezing your opponent. Okay, you must, like after you hear, so you grab him, you control him, now you wanna do transitions, you still have a really good pressure. Okay, you don't take the pressure out of your opponent. And the best way to do that is having your tiptoes on the mat, pushing yourself against him. I use the floor to push myself, so that way I have a really good weight on my opponent. Sometimes people fight like this, and that's not good. That's not good at all. I even see like sometimes high-level black belts with their feet like flat on the floor. That's terrible. Forget about that. Always fight with your toes on the mat, especially if you are on the side. Okay, keep your toes like this. Oh, sometimes you find yourself doing this. You're gonna do that, right? You're not perfect, right? But make sure you have in your mind, always tiptoes on the mat, because that way you're faster, you can make transitions easier, and you can apply a really good pressure on top of your opponent. So make sure when you're going back, you are controlling the hips of your opponent. The last one here, one more time. So I have the knee shield, kneecap over his thigh, stand up my leg, control his control my hand under his leg. So I want to turn Jontas to the other side. I bring my kneecap between his legs. So I grab his biceps, it doesn't go underneath of me. Because if I keep like this, it's gonna go under. See? So I keep here, go under, Jones. So I block it. Okay? So now I go step 1, 2, now go 3. Okay? Once I pass, look, I control his biceps. See grip on his biceps and triceps. Chop the hand under his body. Okay? When he breathes, you're gonna pass the hand on this side. You see my hand here? Okay? Once the hand is on this side, you start squeezing. We're using your butt against his thigh with your tiptoes on the mat. Okay, like this, controlling your hands together here and looking away from him. So he's gonna push you, and then you're gonna be with your thigh under his thigh. No space between this side of your body against this side of his body. That's the key when you pass the guard, especially when you land on the side. It doesn't matter how. Okay, let's say sometimes I'm fighting here, John, stand up, John. Knees. I'm here with the Jontas, and I toss him to the side. I land on the side right away. I gotta block his hips. Okay, I cannot. Knees on the floor. I cannot bring him down like this and try to go upper body here right away. He's gonna recover. Look, there's too much space between your hips and his hips, so you gotta close that space. That way, you're gonna be really comfortable on top with a great pressure on top of your opponent. It's gonna be super hard for him to escape. Let's work on this super knee cut. This pass, I like to call this pass the X pass, okay? On the X pass is really simple, very effective, and it's pretty important for you to know this pass because a lot of times you're gonna be in kind of like a reverse de la Riva position, right? I'll force my opponent to go to reverse de la Riva position. That way I can open this shin right here, okay? Because if I keep my knee on the floor, his knee shield will be really strong. So we learn like a lot of passes where I open his leg, right? We got the knee cut, right? We got the double leg pass, and we got the chin strap. Like every time he sit up, I'm gonna get his neck, right? If I stand up my leg here and stop and keep my opponent facing this way, he's still having the knee shield, right? Plus, he can underhook my leg right here, or underhook on this side, or he's gonna underhook this leg right here and start like going upside down and start getting the scrabbles, right? So I don't want him to reach my leg like that, okay? So if I stand up my leg, I don't stand up and keep my leg just like this, okay? So what I'm gonna do here, first, we're gonna do just like we did in the beginning of the instructional, where we pulse the hand on his biceps, preventing him to go inside my legs. I can have my thumb under his armpit, pushing him away, keeping my heels on my feet flat on the floor, right? So I can be really heavy on my hip, okay, at first. Now, once I control him, I will put my kneecap over his leg, just the kneecap. I'm not gonna cross like this, okay? So just the kneecap over his thigh, right? And now I use my toes on the mat. And once I use my toes on the mat, I keep my armpit, my thumb inside his armpit right here. So if Joe just tries to underhook and use this hand, I block him. Okay, so I staple his shoulder on the floor here so I keep the distance, right? He can go with the hand inside my arm here and try to open up my hand like this, right? So don't let your opponent do that, okay? And of course, like, you're not gonna be here for a long time. So you're just gonna be here for a few seconds, right? Again, first I'm flatting with my feet flat on the floor. So I'm controlling him. He tried to go under, so I'm blocking. Now I go step 1, kneecap over his thigh. Step 2, now I'm gonna start like putting my toes on the mat. And now in step 3, I'm gonna start moving my kneecap towards like the middle, like right on his groin right here. Okay? So I go like this. All right, so try to underhook my leg, just try to work with his hand. He's gonna try to maybe grab my heel. All right, grab my heel there. You can see he can't. All right, if I don't have my arm here, a lot of times people, they go like this, right? And then the opponent will come and underhook the leg and then start scrambling. Or start playing like a reverse de la Riva. I would turn his guard into a reverse de la Riva, okay? So right now he's a knee shield. The reason I turn into reverse de la Riva is to take this leg away, right? So I'm here, step 1, try to grab my leg. Step 2, I go right here, try to grab my heel. So I keep pushing. I can use the other hand here as well, okay, right on his armpit. So this hand, 4 fingers inside, and this hand right here, my left hand, goes with the thumb inside. Now I'm gonna start moving my shin, my kneecap in the middle of his leg. And then at the same time, I put my elbow inside and I connect my elbow here close to my knee, like this, okay? So that way I build this frame. So now if I go back, look, he cannot do the knee shoot, right? I block him. Of course, he can go with the leg under here, like this. But if he does, I go there, like that, I can start putting my weight on him, right? So right now we're not working on the knee cut. We're gonna do the X-pass. So once I get here, I'm gonna start like kicking my leg out, and at the same time, I'll control this leg. So I'll be right here. Jones will try to grab my heel, try to go inside. So I just keep stepping out. Okay, I'm not putting my knee on the floor. Okay, I always keep my kneecap on the floor here, on the thigh of my opponent close to his groin. Once I square him up like this, having both shoulders on the mat, that's when I'm gonna start passing. All right, I'm not gonna work on that if he's like sided. All right, so I'm gonna move him like this, all right? Once I do this, my leg here, okay, cannot be like this, close to his shoulder. So that way he's gonna underhook my leg and start working X guard, start going underneath of me, all right? So when I move into the side right here, so I go step 1, step 2. When I move into the side, I keep my leg far, okay, from his hands, all right? So now Jonas is still playing guard here. He's gonna try to come back and escape her hips outside. He's gonna try to escape the hips like this, all right? So I must work here. As soon as I put his both shoulders on the floor, right? I'm gonna control the front of his thigh. I'm not gonna grab the knee, it's the thigh, okay? So I'll kick his leg, having my forearm in the front of his inner thigh here, holding his rib. My hand that was close to his armpit goes to the rib right here. Grab his leg and then I'll kick. And then I go knee on belly, right away. So that's the X-pass. So I'll be here, step 1, put the weight on this leg right here, the outside leg, kick, and then go knee on belly, right? I cannot have my legs super open and wide like this, because then when I try to kick, I'll end up turning my opponent, all right? So I need to have my leg here. I like to go with my kneecap a little bit close and under his hamstring right here, okay, like this, all right? So you don't need to touch his leg, so just feel comfortable here. You don't need to be like this. Use like your foot like this on the floor. You don't need to have your entire foot on the floor like this, okay? And I believe when you like this with the heel up, you're faster, right? So you bounce and you have speed, all right? When you keep your foot like this on the floor, you're not so fast, okay? So it's better for you to be like this. So I'm here, and now I'm gonna push his leg towards the floor. So when I kick my leg, I wanna push this foot here towards the mat. So when I touch his foot on the mat, right, I don't let he goes back with the knee on his chest. So I keep pushing. That's why I don't grab the knee, because if I go here, he's gonna go back that way. Right, so I keep here, right? And at the same time, I'm kicking. And when I kick, I don't step my foot on the floor. My leg that's between his legs, right? My right leg, I don't do this. I don't step on the floor like this, okay? It's pretty much I'm kicking back. So I kick, and then I pass, okay? So when my second step, that's the first step. My second step, I go with my foot here on the side of his hips, okay? And I put my shin on his belly, and then I open the leg, okay, my left leg, to give me base. This leg will give me base, right? If you push me, I have base. If you pull me, I have base, okay? So this is my base. This is really important. You're not gonna land with you're not gonna end up with your kneecap on the floor like this, the outside kneecap, right? So it must be your foot like this, okay? Now, once you have the shin on his stomach, okay? you lean your hips towards his leg. Okay, so I don't put the knee on belly like this. Okay, I lean on him here. I go like this. Okay? Why? Because then I give less space for him to get the knee shield back again. Right? So when I keep here, I feel like he can escape, he can put the knee shield again. So when I lean like this, and of course, I have my forearm right here. Okay, so that way I prevent him to get the knee shield. But if I lose this connection here, it's easier for him to recover the guard and escape the hips. So I try to put as much as weight as I can on his hips. So he feels like when he escapes the hips, now I'm heavy, okay, on his hip. And then from here I can start doing transitions. It really depends the reaction of my opponent. Right now, let's say he's still flatting on the floor, right? I go with my hand under his head and the other hand under his body, and then I drop my knee on the floor. So instead of doing like this, a lot of people, when they get out of the knee on belly, they go like this, okay? So when you do that, you give too much space as well. So you don't want to do that. You want to keep the contact of your hips on his leg, okay? So when I go down, I go like this, okay? It's kind of like a knee cut. I slide my knee to the side, and I get on the side, on the floor here. Putting my tiptoes on the mat, my right tiptoes on the mat, pushing the mat and having my hips really heavy against his leg. And at the same time, I'm linking my hands together. Right here, my hands are together right now. I trap his jaw. Then I can go with the leg here. My left leg, I can go under his arm if he's trying to do the frame. Try to get the frame. Like this, if you try to push, I can go under his elbow, like this. Or I can go over his arm, like this, okay? So that way I trap my opponent, so it's really hard for him to move. But I always keep my right side in touch with him, okay? At first, knee on belly, then I drop. When I drop, toes on the mat, okay, see, I'm pushing the mat. My knees off the mat right here. I trap his jaw, and then I trap his arm right here. And the way that I trap his jaw, the way I trap his chin right here, is with my shoulder and my face, like this. And now I have my right thigh in touch with him, see, like this. And at any time, I can go back to the shin on belly and get a really good mount, okay, if I want to do a transition to mount, but it's not necessary, okay? Especially if the person bottom loves to do heel hook, I suggest you to not mount, because it's an easy access for them to heel hook you. So if you know, like, he plays a lot of heel hook, he does a lot of heel hook, when you mount, any space that he gets, he can get the knee inside and he can start attacking immediately on your leg here, on your heel. Okay, that's not good. So if I know he's a good heel hook fighter, I'll be on the side, okay? Either with his arm on my lap here, okay, with my knee under his armpit, or with my shin over his biceps right here, okay? And remember that he's gonna try always gonna try to get the hips away from my knee. Go away, Jones, like this. So you find a way to bring the knees inside, okay, the shin. So I must have this connection all the time. When you escape the hips, I follow him, okay? So I give no space. Escape the hip, no space at all, okay? And then from here, you can start working on the transitions from side control, like north-south, guillotine, arm bars, and I show a lot of transitions on the side control attacks instructional that you guys can also find on the website. It's instructional with 48 attacks from side control. We start from basic to a little bit more advanced, like more fundamentals, but they are really, really effective. Those are the techniques that I like to use most to submit my opponents, okay? So again, to drill, like as a conditioning wise, you can repeat this technique, like starting from here, and then you go step one, you squared up your opponent, right? Having both shoulders on the floor. Because if you go like to this X pass like this, you're gonna end up on top of his shin, okay? So you need to put your elbow inside here. If you can do that at first like this, that'll be great. But sometimes he's gonna do a really good job on the shin, the knee shoot. So you keep your hand here. I like this hand like this. I don't like both hands like that. I like this hand here because if I need to pulse, I can pulse really fast. When I go here, I feel like it's hard for me to move my hand. So I keep here. This one here, okay, my right hand, I keep like under his armpit like this. Pushing his shoulder to the mat, okay, both shoulders to the mat, and having my kneecap in between his legs, like this. Once I feel that the knee shoot is no longer on my rib, I put my elbow close to my thigh. Okay. Once I do this, there's no knee shield again. He wants to escape the hip still. I keep pushing like this. Okay. Notice that even my chest go a little bit on this side here. All right. And that way it's harder for him to escape the hips. If I keep my chest on top of his kneecap, it's easier for him to escape. Okay. So I put a little bit outside like this. Now I'm ready to go. I'll grab his leg here. Okay. Push down. Right. You push, and while I'm pushing, look, I turn my hand like this, okay? And at the same time, I'm kicking my leg, but I need to make sure my base is not too open, okay? Here, I go 1, and then 2, okay, immediately, right? So I kick, and then I go, right? So as a drill, like a fast speed drill, you can do like this, and go back. 1, 2, 3. You see the 2 and 3, I land like tum and tum, like boom, boom, right? So I go 1, like this. I cannot go here and land just like this and keep this leg away, okay? Because here, if you push me really fast that way, I lose the balance, okay? So I must have I must do my step right away, okay? So again, so I'm here, I frame, his inner thigh, grab the knee, push the leg here, make sure my leg is closed. I hide a little bit behind his hamstring. Push, okay, putting the weight on the outside leg, kick, and then land on the side, okay? Once you land on the side, he's gonna escape the hips. I go as a knee cut. See, I close the space between my hips and his hips. Okay, don't do that anymore when you escape the hips. Don't try to do this. Okay, so you gotta move sideways. You gotta face towards his head. So escape just, I go here, okay? Even if my opponent underhook me here, let's say he did a really good job underhooking my arm when I'm here, make sure you don't let him take his elbow off his body. Because if his elbow goes off his body here, he's gonna start taking my back, okay? So I must put all my weight here. Chopping my hand under his body, okay, like this. And now I use my left hand on his biceps, okay, as a C grip right here. So I push his biceps and push and sweep his leg with my butt, like this. Try to go to my back joints. Don't let him take the arm out, okay? And now what I do, I pass this leg here under myself, but also under his leg. Turn around. So I go like this, like a leg drag. Once I do this, now I'm super heavy on his hips. I'm squeezing his hips between my hips and my elbow, okay? Yeah. So as I get knee on belly here, do not escape. Let's say underhook, I chop and I move like this, okay? I flat him back on the floor with both shoulders. Now once you're here, since he got the underhook around, since he got the underhook here, okay, I don't hug his head, because if I hug his head, he's gonna start going to my back. Turn around. And notice that because I allow my opponent to get the underhook, when I hug his head, he's gonna start turning. Go Jones. Pay attention to his bottom arm. Go Jones, come up. You see, he brings the elbow towards him to come up. So when my opponent underhooked my arm here, and I use my armpit on top of his elbow, I sweep his hips with my hip, okay? And I put my knee under his hamstring right there, right here, Now my next step is not hugging his head. My next step is underhooking his arm here. Okay? Because right now, even if Jonathan's trying to take my back, he can't come up because I'm blocking this arm here. Okay? He only come up if this arm is not blocked. Okay? I can even like grab his head here, but I like to keep trying to put my elbow on top of his arm. Just, you're gonna try to go to my back. Okay, go. I just stay with my shoulder really heavy on top of his shoulder. Right here, go. As long as I do this, I'll be fine. I don't suggest you to underhook like this because he's not gonna let you do that. Try to, look, he's not gonna let you do that. So what I do here in this situation, right? Of course, my opponent will try to escape the hips. I'll follow him all the time, okay? I like to go with the shin on his belly, right? And now I like to put my forehead on the floor here, like this. And now I don't mount on him. What I do is I cut the other knee also to this side, like this. And then I land to this side right here, like this. And now I sweep. Now I have the underhook so he can't go to my back. It's really hard for him to go to my back. Now I hug him and then establish the side control. Okay. Again, so I'm here. Step one, step one, step one, step two. Sorry, right here. Make sure you're flattening and then you're heavy. Now you go step one, stand up. Now step two, your knee goes in between his leg, right on his groin. Now your chest is outside, right? Now you have time to grab his knee and kick the leg. So you gotta close his leg first. 1, 2. Once you escape the hips, I lay to the side. Once I hit the side, I chop my hand under his body right here, like karate chop. You see between the floor and his body. And then I start pushing his biceps, sweeping my hips under his leg. And now I go with my knee under the leg here. I stay low on the hips. Now I'm gonna start like controlling him. I establish and he's trying to move. I'm very close and tight. I keep my hand here on his biceps. Once he stops moving, then I can start hugging his head. But to be honest, my best option here is still, even if he's not underhooking, is the underhook. Just in case, imagine, because sometimes you go here, he's gonna underhook you. And then you're already here, so now he's gonna take your back. So I like to push the biceps, underhook the arm. And if you underhook me here, I still say go to my back. I put my shoulder on his shoulder. He can't go to my back. I frame, I can mount, or if you like, you knee cut to the other side, like this, okay? Over his body. Once you do that, you again sweep your hips against his hip, because he's gonna try to escape the hip sweep over the guard. You follow him. You follow him. Keep the connection of your hips with his hips. Keep escaping the hips right here. Never stop here with your hips on the floor and let your opponent disconnect from you like this. Once again, like this. This is not good. So keep your butt like 1 inch off the mat with your tiptoes on the mat. That way you're gonna be way heavier. When he escapes, I follow him. Grab his head. Either go with the leg under his arm or over his arm. And then trap. So now you are in the side control. Okay? You can do drills of like 20 seconds, like over and over. You go. 1, go back. 2, just keep doing that over and over. And then you can train the entire technique from here. 1, 2, 3. Square him up. Push. Just keep the hips. Okay? So instead of grabbing the head, push the hip, push the biceps, sweep. And look at the connection. Turn around, Joseph. Look at the connection that I have between my hips and his hips. You know? Like this. I'm pushing the biceps. And I have my hips super heavy on his hips. Putting my knee under his butt. Okay, right under his hamstring. And what I do also here is folding my opponent, rolling over my forearm. Like this. because now there's no way for him to escape. Once you get here, once you get here, then you underhook the arm. And then if it allows you to underhook both arms, great. But if you underhook you, so you're not worried about it. Keep your head on this side, okay? Not on this side, right? Still like you can control, but I like my head on this side. My weight's super heavy right here. Try to move it. I don't move if my opponent is moving, okay? So each time you see, like I gain territories, like when I'm passing the guard. First thing, I beat the knee shield. Second thing, I step and go knee on belly. Now third thing, I need to land on the side control. When I land the side control, I block his hips. He stop moving, then I underhook his arm. He's gonna move, he's gonna stop moving, and then I'm gonna fulfill the guard pass. So I cannot, like the biggest mistake, especially for the beginners, when you're here, you go like 1, 2, you do everything perfectly, but then you go like, you wanna go right away to the end of the technique, right? Which is like hugging his head, underhooking his arms. It's not gonna happen. So first you gotta pass his legs, then you control the hips, then you control the upper body, then you pass the guard. So I'm here. First thing, I gotta pass his legs, right? So I go step 1, step 2, step 3. I'll pass his legs. Pass. Now he goes. Block his hips. See? Chop and push my butt against his hips. Okay? Now I'll cover here. I'll control the hips. I'm squeezing my elbow towards me, like this elbow. It's coming towards me, and my knee is going against him. Okay? My right knee. You want to do move like crazy during the fight. Control him. He stopped moving. Okay, underhook his arm. Now I go upper body. He's gonna move. Escape the hips. Follow him. My knee, you see my knee? Keep escaping just. Always connected. He stop moving. Okay, now I mount. He's gonna move. All right, now I go for armbar or something else. Okay, so you gotta understand that each territory that you gain in the fight, your opponent will fight against you. Okay, so you pass the guard, he's gonna fight, so you gotta be prepared for his reaction. You're gonna like block his hips, he's gonna fight, you gotta be prepared for his reaction. Then you stop moving. Nobody can move and explode for more than 20 seconds or 30 seconds. It's very rare. Most of the people, they explode for the first 5, 10 seconds, 15 seconds until they feel like, oh, I can't escape. Then they'll give up the position, then you're gonna start moving, okay? You don't move if your opponent is moving too fast, okay? So that's the goal of the technique. Of course, you can do different transitions after you get the knee on belly, and that's what you're gonna learn next, okay?